Coming up on Hoosier Sports Nite, football takes care of business with a big win in Pasadena. We'll have the inside scoop from the Rose Bowl.
And men's and women's basketball media days is in full swing. We'll give you the latest on all things IU basketball. This is Hoosier Sports Nite.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Nite. I'm Coby Robbins.
And I'm Madelyn Denny. Coby, what have you thought of the weather here in Bloomington?
It's been amazing, beautiful, and sunny. And speaking of sunny, Curt Cignetti and the Indiana football team had their first Big Ten game this weekend as they took on UCLA in Pasadena. Our Joe Cronin has the recap.
The lights were shining down here at the Rose Bowl, some primetime Big Ten football. Curt Cignetti making his Big Ten debut. His Hoosiers, they found home to the end zone quite a bit, 6 times to be exact, a 42-13 beatdown over the UCLA Bruins. This Hoosier squad is 3-0 in the young season. It was all Indiana from the get-go in this one. They never trailed. Whether fans were close by or made the 2,000-mile trek from Bloomington, they got every penny's worth out of this game. The two-fisted celebration from Curt Cignetti was definitely worth it.
Oh, that feels good, you know, having the fans here. Shout out to the fans for coming down here out the West. I mean, they give us energy, they excite us, and when we make a play, we can hear them. So they really give us energy. It makes us bounce around and fly around and make plays.
Proud of our guys. We went in there, we wanted to play physical, tough, nasty, and we did. It's a good win. We get to enjoy it for 24 hours, and Monday we're humble and hungry with our eyes on the next game.
While the Hoosiers were able to build themselves out to a 21-0 lead, they responded to punches being thrown. In the second half, a Keyshawn Williams touchdown to re-extend to a 3-score lead, and then again in the fourth quarter, the Omar Cooper deep ball. What a grab to ice this game.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. I really liked seeing that. Because, you know, they came out and kicked a field goal the first drive of the third quarter, and then we responded and scored. And I mean, that's what you're looking to do right there. I thought there were some good responses there in the second half.
Cignetti talked the talk for this game, and he walked that walk. This team has some happy trails going back to Bloomington. They're 3-0 in the season, taking on Charlotte next week. From Pasadena, California, in the historic Rose Bowl, Joe Cronin, IUSTV Sports.
Saturday's game is a noon kickoff as the Hoosiers look to get out to their first 4-0 start since the 2020 season.
Indiana men's and women's basketball media day was fully under swing on Wednesday at Assembly Hall. Both Hoosier squads have a few new faces and talent with the foundation of leadership from years past.
I like to play a little bit quicker this year, where we're not walking it up. You know, I mean, there were times we had fast break points that we made off of turnovers with our defense, but I like to play a little bit faster on makes, and you know that's something that we've been working on since we put this team together this summer.
Indiana men's soccer drew to in-state rival Evansville Wednesday night. Our Sam Hauser has the recap.
Indiana men's soccer faced off against Evansville Tuesday night, resulting in Indiana's third draw of the season, bringing them now to 2-2 with 3 ties. With 20 shots for the Hoosiers, only one of them got through, being Sam Sarver's in the 31st minute. The Purple Aces were behind for most of the game, until a 73rd minute goal tied the game up behind their only 6 shots. However, even with a record that Coach Yeagley did not expect, he's still confident in this Hoosier squad.
So performance-wise, if we were performing as our record, I'd have more concerns, but we're not. We're not. We played really well in many phases, honestly.
Yeagley also expressed the need to play as one unit.
The other 19 shots were a lot of, I wouldn't say blast, but impatient.
The match ended in a 1-1 tie between the Evansville Purple Aces and the Indiana Hoosiers. Coach Todd Yeagley talks about how his team will prepare for this upcoming match on Friday versus Maryland and how they're going to share the ball more.
They'll be pumped. They'll be ready. I mean, tomorrow, the sun comes up, we get after it. It's always the same, right? We've seen this show before. It's just we got to be more clinical in the final third. We have to share the ball a little bit more, and we have to be better on restarts on both sides. If we do that, I think things will really start to come together for us.
The Hoosiers look forward to playing the Maryland Terrapins this Friday at 7 p.m. in Bill Armstrong Stadium. For IUSTV Sports, I'm Sam Hauser.
The Hoosiers will dive back into Big Ten play this Friday at home when Maryland comes to Bloomington.
Coming up after the break, we crown this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week.
And we tell you about women's volleyball undefeated weekend. Don't go away yet.
Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night.
Joining us in studio for this week's Hoosier Highlight is IUSTV sports reporter Mike Badrov. Mike?
Hey, thanks, guys. Indiana football is off to a flying start this season, and a lot of it is due to the steady leadership from none other than our Hoosier Highlight of the Week, quarterback Curtis Rourke. Rourke is the first Indiana athlete to be named Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week since 2020 after his performance at UCLA. He passed for 307 yards and 4 touchdowns to ruin what most speculated was going to be a showcase match for the Bruins. Rourke led the Hoosiers to a 42-13 victory over UCLA, which is the largest point difference in the Big Ten for the Hoosiers since 2019. Rourke is currently throwing at a near 750 completion rate with 755 yards and 7 touchdowns over the past 3 games. He looks to continue the Hoosiers' winning streak this weekend against Charlotte. That's all for this week's Hoosier Highlight. I'm Mike Badrov. Back to you at the desk.
Indiana volleyball went undefeated last weekend with wins over Chicago State, Southern Indiana, and Ball State as part of the annual Indiana Invitational. The Hoosiers dropped their first set of the weekend to Chicago State, but did not lose another, finishing off Chicago State 3-1 and sweeping their other 2 opponents. Indiana's attack dominated with efficiency and volume from the front row and the dynamic play of setter Cameron Hayworth. Kept defenses guessing, head coach Steve Aird feels confident that this recipe will allow his group build on their solid start to the season.
Again, you learn through winning. It's not a bad thing. You're 5-2. You got 2 losses. One's to number 1 in the country. The other one's to a team that beat them. I think we're in an okay spot. We just got to keep rolling and work hard and recover and get ready for tomorrow.
The Hoosiers will head up to South Bend to take on Notre Dame on Friday and then host the Fighting Irish here in Bloomington on Sunday.
Indiana women's soccer had a rough start to conference play last Thursday, dropping to number 20 Ohio State 3-0. After going undefeated in non-conference play, Indiana was held to just 3 shots on goal. It doesn't get any easier as they take on UCLA on Thursday, and Sunday they take on USC, another new Big Ten team. For head coach Erwin Van Bennekom, it's exciting to see the adjustments he put in place against 2 quality opponents.
A couple of changes, changing in the way we set up, in the way we want to press them. Obviously, defensively against Ohio State, we gave up a little bit too many gaps and holes, so we fixed that. And then in possession, we just got to be better. We gave the ball away too much against Ohio State. Didn't create enough outside of the second half. I thought we started playing a little bit. So we just got to be better with the ball. Hold on to the ball longer. Be brave on the ball. So that's really 2 main focuses for us.
The Hoosiers turn to Thursday as they take on the UCLA Bruins as they look back to get back to 500 in conference play.
Joining us in studio for this week's Candy Stripe calendar is IUSTV sports reporter Mary Kate Sullivan. Mary Kate?
Thanks, guys. Let's dive into a weekend packed with competition for our Hoosiers. Kicking things off on Friday, volleyball hits the road to South Bend, Indiana to face the University of Notre Dame. Here in Bloomington, men's soccer hosts the University of Maryland for their Big Ten home opener at Bill Armstrong Stadium. Looking ahead to Saturday, Indiana football is back in action at Memorial Stadium as they take on Charlotte. Wrapping up the weekend, field hockey faces off against Northwestern at Deborah Tobias Field, while women's soccer welcomes USC at Bill Armstrong Stadium. Volleyball will go head-to-head with Notre Dame, this time at Wilkinson Hall. That's all for this week's Candy Stripe calendar. Back to you guys at the desk.
And that's our show for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports to keep up with all the latest in IU athletics. For our production crew behind us, I'm Coby Robbins.
And I'm Madelyn Denny. We'll see you next week.